Personnel Administration Committee. Today is Monday, August 22nd at 7. It's now, hold on, let's just make sure. It's 7:01 p.m. All right. Our computer laptop clock is a little behind. With me, I have Council President Mark LaPlante, Stephanie Infante, and myself, Pavel Payano, as chair. I'll read the following. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of the Personnel Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that persons who would like to listen or view this meeting while in progress may either attend in person at the location above or go to our Facebook or YouTube page. If you can join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Councilors, there are for approval for July 11th and July 18th. Are there any motions for either of these meetings? I believe you were, sir. I think you were at least in the July 18th, but let me just read the 11th. You were here. I can second that motion. Okay, Councilor Infante, would you be able to make a motion to approve the minutes for July 18th?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion, and it's been properly second, to approve the minutes of July 18th. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. We will leave the minutes for July 11th until we get some of our other members that were present at that time. No. Sure. There's no one on.
Oh, I'm just wondering if it just goes.
Yeah. No. So this is more. So if this is muted and I'm there,
Okay.
then I can't hear what's going on. All right. So let's start with new business. So we have item 276-22, appointment of Anthony Coco to the Zoning Boards of Appeal. It's been brought to us by Mr. Dan McCarthy, Planning Director. Mr. Dan McCarthy was unable to be here today, but he did send us a letter. Give me one moment. I will open that up. Oh, okay. The letter says, the appointment of Anthony Coco for a position as a full voting member of the Zoning Board of Appeals is scheduled for committee review this evening at 7 p.m. I had planned on attending this evening meeting, but I currently have conflicting schedules as he must attend a special meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeal. Mr. Coco is a resident and business owner in the city of Lawrence. He is a former educator at the Greater Lawrence Vocational High School and has operated his own small business in the city for more than 2 decades. He's a lifelong resident of Lawrence, having grown up in the same Prospect Hill neighborhood where he now resides. The city is currently shorthanded at the ZBA, having lost board member Roberto Fernandez, one of our longtime board members who moved out of the state. Mr. Coco, if approved, will assume that person's role, which is a 3-year term which runs through January 1st, 2023. Mr. Coco, if you'd like to come up. So we have reviewed the application.
Okay.
Do you have anything that you would like to add to what was said?
Well, look, I've been in this city all my life, so I think it's time that I kind of give back a little bit of what I've done. You know, I own a business in the city, and at one point, I contributed a lot to the city as far as doing work for the city. And I don't know, I just feel like it's time for me to get involved and help the city grow in the right direction. You know?
A great thing. Thank you, Mr. Coco. So one of the things that, I think, all of us can attest to is that sometimes, zoning regulations are not necessarily adhered to throughout the city. So you'll have certain areas
Oh,
where, it's a two-family, but, 15 years ago, they approved a four-family. And like, it's very, sometimes the residential zones aren't, whatever's on the book isn't what was actually done over the course of the last 30 years.
Right.
And then there are other issues, going
Right.
on where, we're looking, there's the balance of building, and at the same time, having development, at the same time having, development that's, good development. And I
Right.
guess that good development is different for each individual.
Right.
So I'm wondering where you're at in that.
Well, like I said, in my neighborhood, I can just tell you from my own experience, in my neighborhood, I've seen a lot of places being developed. People that had backyards, homes being built, some for the better, some for not. Some where they were supposed to be a single family, they end up being two families. And then, sometimes it's overcrowding. And sometimes, like I said, I had my own experience with where I grew up, because we have 20% commercial property on that area, and I had run into a zoning problem years ago. So, I've experienced that end of it too, But some of the, like I said, a lot of the, I want to see Lawrence grow, and for the better. But there's some things that, that shouldn't slide to do, So, I'm hoping I can help make a difference.
Thank you, sir. Do any of my colleagues have any questions? If there's no questions, Council President?
I just want to make a comment.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for applying.
Yeah.
And as the chairman was mentioning, this is a pretty important committee, a board.
Right.
And so, and there's a lot of authority that goes with it. Your application talks that you want to see new businesses in the city as well as new housing.
Right.
Can you talk to us a little bit, through you, Mr. Chairman, about the balance that you're looking to get? Is it any business, any housing?
No,
What's your vision?
My vision is to attract good businesses, obviously, that will help the city grow. I'd like to have, businesses that are going to attract people to the city. As far as if you get a good business that comes in, people want to move in because they like the businesses that are around, they feel comfortable. That's what I would be after. Try to keep it balanced as far as not too much housing, not too much businesses, but an equal amount.
I won't have a chance to say that the full council, so I'll say it now. My colleagues have heard me talk about this probably a lot. We have a lot of housing in the city already.
Right.
There is a housing spike. We're in the middle of it right now, and it's continuing. And the reality is that we don't have a tax base that's able to, even with this growth, is able to withstand the educational component with new schools, for example. The parking in the city has gotten to a place where it's become an incredible challenge, and it's an incredible challenge for the city council, who constantly is getting parking issues that we have to deal with, and we're not making new parking. We're just having more people that have more cars that need more parking, and we just don't have it. And then we have a lot of other issues of calls for service, et cetera, and we just don't, for snowplows and police response and fire and ambulance response on some of these narrow streets. My concern is that if and when you get selected and appointed and confirmed to be on the ZBA, you're going to be sitting with a board, and most likely you're going to get a developer who's going to be there, who's going to advocate. It is unlikely, for the most part, this is not absolute, that there's going to be a lot of abutters, a lot of other people who are going to come out there because they have very busy lives. They're taking care of their families.
Right.
Maybe they've gotten the notice, maybe they didn't get the, who knows, right? It's going to be difficult for a ZBA member to really say no to a developer in an area. And we need somebody who's going to take a look and listen to what's going on and then understand there's two parts of this.
Right.
And even though there's no one speaking out against it, doesn't mean that there's not people out there who've got concerns. So as you go through this, we need someone who's going to be thoughtful.
Right.
And who's willing to, it's going to be a lot of pressure.
Right.
You're going to hear about it. We have other housing needs you're going to hear. We need to build more housing. We have people out in the streets. We have homeless. We have all these things. You're going to hear all those things. And these people are going to come and say to you, what they're looking to do, why it's so important, and we need to create this. And then you're not going to hear the other side. You're just not.
Right.
So the reality is that you need to know that there is another side and just be balanced. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that, allowing me to say those words.
Thank you, Council President. Do you have a response to that? Or we can go?
Well, I think what Mark said is right. I mean, you got to look and listen, and you know what I mean. You got to. I mean, you really have to. I mean, hear both sides, and then I wouldn't do nothing until I listen to both sides and then make a decision. But I can tell you from my own experience in my neighborhood, you're right. The cars, you can't even get by sometimes. If a car's coming the other way on some of these side streets, you got to be the man to pull over. You know what I mean? Because there's no way two cars can pass. Parking is tough.
Thank you, Mr. Coco. Councilor Infante?
Thank you, Chair. Going back to your opening statement, I would like to know if you can give us an example of what you think is a good business to have in Lawrence. I want to know more, understand that better.
I would definitely say retail. I would definitely say something like we have enough barbershops. We don't need no more barbershops, I don't think. But like retail as far as restaurants, I mean, we lost a lot of good restaurants in Lawrence. I mean, things like that would attract people to come to Lawrence. Essex Street, I mean, when I was a small boy, there was tons of clothing stores and all kinds of stuff going on Essex Street. I mean, that would, attract people. But mainly, I would like to see it grow up like that. Like, people would want to come down and, go to places on Essex Street where people, I had seen when I was a kid, people would have like tables and they'd be eating out on the sidewalks and just something like that to try to kind of get everyone together.
Well, thank you, Mr. Coco, for applying.
Yep.
I think we all sort of appreciate those that apply and they're willing to give their time to to the city. What I would say is, if you end up getting in there, one of the things that I would ask you to is that whenever there's a proposal and you think, if I was a resident and this was happening in my neighborhood, I would want to speak on it.
Right.
And you don't see any neighbors speaking on it, to please ask the question as to why. I think,
Right.
Sometimes, there are some things that we do really good in the city. One of the things that I think we could be better at is the outreach to the neighborhood when projects are being done.
Right.
I think we're good at it when there's like big projects,
Right.
not so much when there's small projects. So there are a lot of times where residents contact me when things are being built.
Yeah.
Right, and by that everything's
It's
been
too late.
approved. It's too it's too late to give your opinion on anything or making sure that things are more likely to go the way that the neighborhood wants.
Right.
Usually, one of the biggest worries is around parking that people have.
Yeah.
So I just want you to take that concern, and thank you again for
I thank you for listening.
giving
to
your
me.
time.
Yeah.
Councilors, is there a motion?
I make a motion to send this up with a favorable recommendation.
There's a motion to send this to the full with favorable recommendation. It's been second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you
you.
very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you all. Thank you.
You should be here next Tuesday.
Okay,
Oh,
thank
no, I'm sorry, next Wednesday?
It's the 7th, the day after the election.
Okay, so 7th.
7th of September, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Have a nice night, everyone.
You too. So our next item, can we take item 176-22 out of tabled items?
So moved.
The item's been taken out to item 176-22 has been made, it's been second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. So we have item 176-22. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
There's a motion to go into executive session for item 176-22 for us to review city clerk applicants. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Oh, uh,
So moved. Aye.
Aye. Recommending,
I'll make a motion to send our 3 finalists to the full council. Eileen Burnell,
Yep.
Damaris Roos, and Ted Tershert.
sorry. There's a motion, Councilman Fonte, is that okay? A motion, send it to full council as a committee report. Eileen Burnell, Ted Tyshirt, and Damaris Ruiz.
Second.
It's been second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Councilors, is there any item from tabled matters that you would like to take out? If there isn't, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn has been second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Good evening, everybody.